Rev it up and welcome to Cars Yeah, show number 1865. This week we're celebrating the 70th annual Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance that takes place Sunday, August 15th at the Lodge in Pebble Beach, California. To learn more, go to pebblebeach.net.
This is Cars Yeah, where you'll enjoy interviews with inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Mark Green is here to provide you with a fuel injection of automotive inspiration. So get in, sit down, buckle up, and get ready for a wild ride here on Cars Yeah.
Hello, inspiring automotive enthusiasts, and welcome to Cars Yeah. I'm very excited today because I'm in beautiful Pebble Beach, California with the first guest who's had 4 appearances here, Sandra Button. Sandra, do you have any gear and are you ready to release the clutch?
Of course, always for you, Mark.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and you certainly are. Now, as I mentioned, you're the first four-timer. I don't know what you would call it, but first time anyone who's been on the show. And it's kind of cool that it's a woman, too, because I've had lots of women. I just last week went over my 300th guest as a woman here on Cars Yeah. So I've always tried to promote women in the automotive sector. You know, the fact that you're number 4 again here on Cars Yeah is a real testament to longevity, which is something we're going to be talking about today for both you and Pebble Beach, because this is kind of a special one, right?
Well, it's long awaited. Our 70th anniversary, which was supposed to be, of course, last August, but we're delighted to be on the road and on our way to 70, which is, just weeks away.
Hard to imagine 70 years. Well, let me give you a proper introduction, and we're going to dive into some questions about your past with the Pebble Beach, current and the future, and this incredible time span that you spent with it. Sandra Button celebrates her 36th year. Am I right with that? You've been involved for 36 years?
I sure have.
Holy cow. That's over half as long as the Concours has been in presence. As she said, it's the 70th anniversary. She's the chairman of the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance, so that means she's kind of got her finger on the pulse here. That means that she's been an integral part of this event for over half of the event's lifespan. That's absolutely incredible. She is the executive director and has helped to inspire and guide the growth of the collector car hobby into a truly global celebration of the automobile. Sandra participates and officiates in automotive events from Asia to the Middle East to South America. She and her husband Martin have an eclectic collection of automobiles that they drive in events, including some very cool events like the Mille Miglia, the London to Brighton Veteran Car Run, and many, many others. She's a member of the Royal Automobile Club and Classic Car Club of America and the Motor Press Guild, along with the Society of Automotive Historians. We'll be back in just a minute, but first a word from our valued sponsors. We're at Pebble Beach Concours. This is going to be an amazing event, so keep the seatbelts on, and we will be right back. Are you ready to get out and hit the road? Boy, I sure am. This country has so much to offer, and what better way than to get out and drive? Covercraft protects the things that move you. From protective covers for the outside of your vehicles to the inside with dash covers, seat covers, and sunscreens, all creatively designed to keep your vehicle cool for those roadside stops for a meal or to take in the view. Covercraft custom tailors their designs for your special vehicles and manufactures with the quality and attention to detail that's been their standard since 1965. Road trips can be hard on your vehicle's surfaces, so protect them, and when you get home, cleanup is fast and easy. And you want to get a deal? Well, I've got one just for you. Use the code YEAH21 at covercraft.com and you'll get 10% off your Covercraft order. That's right, 10% off. Compliments of Cars Yeah. Simply use the code YEAH21, YEAH21 at checkout. I've been protecting my vehicles with Covercraft covers since 1975. Covercraft, protecting the things that move you. Go to covercraft.com today. I was talking with a buddy of mine the other day, and he asked me about American Collectors Insurance. He said, while I listen to you on Cars Yeah, you're always talking about agreed value collector car insurance. Well, I insure all my cars on my regular auto insurance policy, and I've done it for years. Why use a different company for my collector cars? I get a multi-car discount. Isn't that good enough? I suggested he call his carrier and ask how much he would get if his collector car was totaled are stolen. He called back and said, boy, that was a scary conversation. The value of my car wasn't even close to what it's really worth. Thank you for the education, Mark. So don't just hope for a fair claim settlement. Be certain and know exactly what you'll receive with an agreed value policy. American Collectors Insurance has been protecting enthusiasts since 1976. Give them a call today for your personal agreed value quote at 866-ACI-YEAH. That's 866-224-9324. Tell them you're a friend of Mark Green's at Cars Yeah. American Collectors Insurance, classic car insurance, designed by collectors for collectors, automotive enthusiasts just like you and me. They're the ones that insure my car. That's American Collectors Insurance. All right, we are back. So let's start by talking about what Pebble Beach means to you. Now, you're a gardener, I understand, and your mother is an amazing master gardener, of which she's taught you much of her craft. And I've heard you talk about what you call the language of cars, and that it is much like the language of flowers. What does that concept mean to you, and what has Pebble Beach meant to you over all these years? I know it's a big question.
That's a lot of questions all in one there.
Yeah.
Well, Pebble Beach for me, I'm not a golfer, so it's all about cars, and it's all about the Pebble Beach Concours, that fantastic 1 week a year where golf is not king and cars are. So that's something to strive for all year long. And it gives a big purpose to my life. Missing a year has really underscored the fact that it's the people that bring the cars, and missing them, not just at Pebble, but all over the world this last year. But back to the garden, because I think that was, your initial question. I've always been drawn to cars, even, as a young woman, but I didn't grow up in a car family. So we didn't talk cars at dinner. There's a lot more talk with my dad was a rocket scientist at Boeing. Didn't ever hear much about his work because that's the way it was. It wasn't something he was allowed to talk about. But mom was always busy in the garden. And I grew up knowing all the names of the flowers, Latin names, all sorts of things. And I really, to this day, I can walk into a garden and those names come to me almost automatically. But cars are kind of a different thing. They're not a first language to me. They're a second language, and it's something that I had to work hard at because I was drawn to them. And it wasn't easily something that I, learned as a child. But just like flowers or gardening or, if you look at a big formal garden, you can appreciate the lines or the style or the significance of a car in the same way that you're drawn to the right grouping of plants or paths or, whatever may be happening in a garden. So I liken the Pebble Beach Concours to that. And like you said earlier, I've been around for more than half. And I certainly didn't plant this garden. It started in 1950. There's been a lot of people before me that have worked hard on the Pebble Beach Concours, people like Jules Human and Lauren Tryon, and Glenn Munger. And really, my job has been to help take care of it and plant and prune and, make sure that it's ready for the next gardener when my turn is up.
Well, it's a very mature garden. It certainly has been, but there's been a lot of changes with that garden over time. And we're going to get into that, but I want to step back into something you said that is a repeated topic here on Cars Yeah. Having spoken with so many people, that's the key. You talked about that. And every year I go to Pebble Beach, I run into all these people that I haven't even seen for a whole year, but I feel like they're my friends, my acquaintances, and even people that I see year after year. I'll go up and say, I see you here every year. Who are you? Well, how are you involved? And then we become new friends. So I would love for you to share a little bit about some of your favorite memorable moments. And I know this is going to be hard to choose because there are so many, but let's nail this down a little bit. Maybe to people, because you've been able to meet some incredible people. I know a few to name that are no longer with us. Juan Manuel Fangio, Phil, of course, who showed a car, who raced there at Torrey Pines and was a steadfast member and part of that whole organization, Phil Hill. So maybe let's start by talking about a few of the most memorable moments with people that you've encountered at Pebble. And for those that we're going to leave out, don't worry. We've only got about a 40-minute show here, so don't feel bad, but just maybe a few that really stand out for you.
Well, I think Phil's a really great person to mention because one of the things that is really interesting about the Pebble Beach Concours is that all of its roots came in motorsport. The Pebble Beach road races, started in 1950, and they were really the star of the show. The Pebble Beach Concours was an afterthought. It was merely a group of people getting together to kick tires after the races. So it wasn't the star of the show. And in fact, the early classes, most of the cars were brand new sports cars. A lot of servicemen had seen them when they were, in Europe or the UK, during the war. And they were starting to come into this country. And our first classes were actually split up into the dollar amounts that the MSRP was on these different sports cars.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, we started in motorsports with the Pebble Beach road races. Sadly, those only happened for a number of years. The cars got too fast, and there were some fatalities in the forest. And the Sports Car Racing Association of the Monterey Peninsula, which became SCRAMP, and did everything they needed to do to create Laguna Seca. That all started right in Del Monte Forest, right at Pebble Beach.
Wow. Yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. Who are some of the other amazing characters that you've met that have been part of the event?
Well, I always say, as cool as cars are, and they are, that's what it's all about, right? They don't come to Pebble Beach by themselves. Somebody has to get them there. And it's the people that have the passion to preserve and expand everything to do with these cars that make the show. And so, as you look back through the decades, we've been fortunate enough that we've been able to bring the famous people back with their cars, whether they've been race car drivers or, someone like Bertoni with the Bats and Scaglietti with his fantastic coach-built cars. And those have been some of my very favorite moments. When Bertoni was on the ramp with the three Bats,
oh yeah,
I thought to myself, I wonder if he ever saw these three cars together, because I'm pretty certain that he created each one and then it left.
Right.
And the emotion and the reverence, you could just, it was tangible that day when he walked out and sort of gently touched his creations.
Yes.
So for me, those are the best moments. And sadly, Mark, those are the moments that are harder to come by now because so many of these people are gone.
Oh, yeah. I remember being on the lawn if Scaglietti walked up to John Shirley's car the first time it was on the lawn, the silver Ferrari, which later became a Pebble Beach winner. And, well, it was a winner then, but the big winner, best of show winner. And he had tears in his eyes because he'd not seen that vehicle since he built it. Long ago for that famous filmmaker. I believe the story was he gave it to his girlfriend, something like that. So
yeah.
Ingmar Bergman, something like that. Yeah. So it's pretty phenomenal. And when you walk the lawn, the people you see, you just go, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I mean, Nick Mason, the drummer, and then standing there talking to an F1 driver. And you just go, wow, Sir Sterling Moss with his wife, Susie. I mean, all these people that some are not with us anymore and some are, it's really amazing. It really, really is. Now, your life, your whole calendar, your whole life has become cars. I mean, you and Martin do so many things. You actually met your husband because of cars, right?
Absolutely. I knew Martin for years because he ships classic cars, mostly by air, internationally, all over the world for people that, participate in these great events.
And where did you meet him?
I can't exactly remember when I met him. I knew of him, and we were both married to other people at the time. And then I got divorced, and so did he. And we ended up actually talking in person. But for years, he was in my Rolodex. Yeah. And usually if I had some sort of shipping problem or a car was stuck in customs, I would give him a call at the worst hour to try to solve it.
I need your help.
I don't know if I was his favorite person, that's for certain.
Well, there must have been something that clicked there because now you guys get to go out and participate in events, adventures, rallies, travel, officiating automotive events. I mean, you two get to do some very cool things, don't you?
Well, the Pebble Beach Concours is officially work, right? But when you love cars and you love being around car people, there's no big lines between work and life, right? Mm-hmm. It's not a work-life balance. It's all your life. And I think that when you're passionate about something, as great as cars are. I mean, what's not to like about old cars? There's just a million things you never run out of things to talk about. So having the opportunity to have that interwoven into your life, and car people are fantastic people, inclusive, interesting, curious, and passionate about what they love. And that's a joy to be around.
It is, for sure. I'd love for you to talk about the changing times and the evolution. Now, you've been around this event for so long. You've seen a lot of changes and so forth. The hobby has changed a lot. It's opened up to a much broader audience, including more countries, and you get to be involved and go to these countries and be a part of that. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Well, I would say that old cars are sort of like a passport, right? If you go on some sort of international rally, you always seem to be able to drive up to the most private castle and park your cars out in front. And, it is a passport to places and to people. But also, I think there's an international language, right? That even with a language barrier or a cultural difference, the old cars bring us together in a way that's very like-minded, that bridges any of those types of gaps that might be there.
Pebble Beach has opened up some amazing doors. A good example was a few years ago, the cars of the Maharaja, that you guys were able to get out of India, which typically India is not very easy place to take historic objects from. In fact, they pretty much forbid you to do that. But you had a whole bunch of them on the lawn. So this is a wonderful way that you guys and cars have opened up the world. And that's part of what I was checking on here, is that the broader audience that comes to Pebble, although this year may still be a little challenge for some people because of quarantining and things like that. However, it's a very worldly event. When you're at Pebble, you hear every language there is on the lawn, and that week before when you're at parties or at events, right?
Absolutely. I mean, people come from almost every continent for certain, and hopefully we'll get as much of that this year as we can, given any restrictions that are still out there. This year, the group of cars and the group of people, especially with celebrating our 70th anniversary and it having a reunion of our Best of Show winners, we have over 40 previous Best of Show winners coming this year.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So even without some of the international participants who may not be able to travel, I feel it's going to be one of our most spectacular shows ever.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the car world for many decades has been kind of what we call a car guy world, but it's opened up a lot for women and women like you that have set the tone and the pace for more women being involved. I've tried very hard with this podcast to have a lot of women on the show. Over 300 women have been in the show. In fact, I just recorded a show last week with two young women, an 18 and 20-year-old sisters who won the great race. First time.
I saw your post on that.
Yeah.
That looks fantastic.
First time a women's team has won, and they're young women, which is even more encouraging to me, is young people coming into the hobby. We talk about that quite a bit. What is your impression as a woman with how this changed from just being a car guy world to, no, this is about everybody. It's inclusive, much more inclusive now, and includes women being involved. Do you see some cars owned by women in particular? I know typically if it's a husband and wife, they both own the car. And what's your impression of the car world and the Concours world opening up for women?
Well, I don't think it really matters what you're passionate about. And, maybe there's a generalization that cars are about guys, but I can honestly say that passion doesn't have a gender.
Yes.
So,
nice quote.
if you have a passion for something, you have it. And I'm happy to see more women getting acknowledged for their role in the hobby, feeling included, because whether you're a car guy or a car gal, or, I still call myself a car guy. I mean, it's just, like being the chairman of the Pebble Beach Concours.
Yeah.
It's really just kind of a name, right?
Yeah.
But it's having that curiosity, endless curiosity about all the cars and the car community in general that make you part of the tribe, right?
Right.
And seeing those same people all over the world at different events, it's like riding a bicycle. You just pick up where you left off and start talking cars with people that are like-minded, whether they're car guys or car gals. we all just love those cars.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you, I've seen a change over the 7 years I've had this podcast. And as I mentioned, I've tried my best to bring as many women onto the show as possible. And I even dedicated the entire month of March to women again this year, where I had 28 women back to back that were all in the car industry. Just went over 300 women on the show. I'm seeing more and more, and I'm finding more and more women, which is really great because they bring a different perspective. Just because, I don't know if it's a gender perspective, but just a different perspective because they look at the world a little bit differently. And it helps me see things in a different way that maybe I didn't see that way. And plus more young women, which is really great too. Now, in the past, Pebble Beach is known for having the best cars that are in the world on the lawn. And for a while, there was getting to a point where the term was, it's an over-restored Pebble Beach car. Now, this has changed, and I'm seeing this change, and I wanted to hear your perspective because we started seeing a preservation class on the lawn, and I thought that was really great to see cars that had just been well-loved and cared for. A new demand for originality, where even major restorers are now looking at not over-restoring vehicles. What's your impression as part of the biggest, best car concours on the planet and this whole concept?
Well, I think that these cars deserve the very best treatment possible. And whatever's done to them needs to be well documented, whether a car is lovingly preserved and it never got the wrong sort of restoration at a certain point in its life, right? Some cars are past the point of being preserved because of what's happened to them, prior, and they need a restoration. But I agree with you that a more sensitive restoration so that the car really still looks like it left the factory or the coach builder and not on a level that's, hyper improved that really doesn't reflect what the vehicle was supposed to be in the day. Looking at it from the outside, I can see where somebody might think, oh, you're like the Queen Mary, this event's been around 70 years and it must be full of tradition, which we are. But what I love about it, and it's always been this way, is that the Pebble Beach Concours is very organic and it's driven by the interests of the enthusiasts. And so when you see the change towards preservation or gently restored cars, authenticity, more post-war cars on the field, whatever it happens to be, that drive towards those types of cars and the feeling for, restoring in that way, that all comes from the enthusiasts.
Yeah.
And we just reflect their values.
You mentioned also a shifting that we're starting to see of pre-war to post-war cars, which is a natural progression, I would think, because of time and interest in vehicles. Is that something that we will continue to see a migration of more of those post-war cars on the lawn?
Well, it's interesting because we'll see a shift, and obviously in the last 5 years, and certainly in the last 2 or 3 shows, we've had more post-war cars on the field than pre-war. And that shift, that dynamic is relatively recent. That being said, it's interesting to me that there's been a resurgence of interest in brass era cars. W.O. Bentleys seem to, be on fire because I think there's driving events that people enjoy. So I wouldn't say it's a one-way street, right? I think that you get into one kind of car. And, often I'll see a collector bring a Ferrari every year for multiple years. And then all of a sudden I see them, bring an Alfa, a pre-war Alfa to the show, that their interest has broadened. So I think there's room for both.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about building a show like this, because you have a group of people that you work with that are class experts collecting or looking at, I should say, cars that are submitted. There's lots of cars submitted. Can you give me an idea of how many cars are submitted versus how many actually end up on the lawn?
Well, it depends on the year, but we have a selection committee of 12 people who probably call on hundreds of people that they know to fill in their knowledge, when the entries come in. A lot of entries really never even get to the selection process because maybe the cars don't fit any of the classes that we have that year. But, I would say of the cars that are considered, we get down to, out of 1,000 cars, we'll get down to maybe 150. And
from 1,000 to wow.
Yeah, and we look at every single car. and everything that's sent in, some very quickly and some more intently. But as I say to my selection committee, we need to remember that selection is actually the first step of judging, to make sure that the right cars are starting the competition.
Right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the cars that are coming this year. You gave us a little sneak preview earlier. You're going to have roughly 40 or just over 40 of the past Best of Show winners lined up there. I'm guessing they're going to be along the waterfront there.
They sure are, yeah.
Yeah. What are a few of those, if you can touch on just a couple? We won't mention all 40, but that's a lot of cars.
Well, our earliest winner that won early in the process, of course, was Phil Hill's car. And Phil was sort of embarrassed that day because he won the races and was still in his race overalls.
Oh, wow.
When he found out that he won Best of Show. His family's Pierce Arrow was the first sort of old car that had won Best of Show. Prior to that, they'd all been brand new cars. Mm-hmm. So that car will be there. Ralph Lauren is sending both of his Best of Show winners.
Wow.
So
nice.
The Bugatti Atlantique and the Count Trossi Mercedes.
Nice. Wonderful
to see those cars there. And then, we have a number of fantastic Duesenbergs, including the Mormon Meteor. That, the SJ Speedster that's coming back.
Yeah.
But I think our earliest Best of Show winner, as far as the year of the car, is a 22 Hispano. And then there's a lot of cars from the 30s. I would say that 1937 is probably the year where we have more winners than ever.
Interesting.
Yeah, 36, 37, 38. There were a lot of fantastic cars, but 37 really is the year where we see the most. And I think we have 7 cars coming back that have won Best of Show that are all from 1937.
Wow. And you imagine being the winner this year and getting to park your car next to that lineup. That is,
yeah.
There's going to be some people fighting for that win. That's for sure.
Well, I think it's going to be interesting as a judge to walk past 40 Best of Show winners and sort of think to yourself, wow, would I choose that car again? We had years where there were bigger sort of coach built more giant touring cars winning, and then some swoopy French, teardrop type things.
Yeah.
And everything in between, right? A number of Packards and big Mercedes, the Voisin. I could just imagine walking that line and getting your eye in and thinking, and then turning around to the competition part of the field and thinking, how does this translate?
Right.
What Best of Show car really caught my eye from the past, and what is similar on the field today?
Yeah.
That is, in competition. So
going to be incredible.
I know I'm going to think about that a little bit as I walk the field.
Now, another class you have coming, Pininfarina, which you're going to have 4 full classes, I understand, and a Ferrari class too, right?
Yeah, actually, in the Pininfarina classes, we have 2 Ferrari classes, Pininfarina late and early cars, because there's so many examples of beautiful coach-built Pininfarina Ferraris.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And then, of course, we'll have a pre-war class because it's their 90th anniversary.
Wow.
And a post-war, mixed mark class. So they'll be, I think, 40, like almost 30, 35 Pininfarina bodied cars on the field.
Ooh, fantastic. And I understand Lamborghini's bringing a couple Countaches aboard, right? The first prototype and the last one built. Is that correct?
Yeah. And isn't it wild to think that Countach is 50 years old? That certainly makes me feel old.
Yeah, you're talking about all these ages, 90 years, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting old. This is incredible. Yeah, but I got to see that first prototype Countach at the factory. It's green, and the story the lady told us was, I said, well, there's a chip here, and it looks like this car was red once. And she smiled and said, well, yes, Mr. Lamborghini built the first one and took it out to a show, and he didn't want everyone to think there was only one. So we brought it back to the factory and painted it green, and they took it to another show. Carroll Shelby did that little trick with some of his Cobras. So I don't know if the car is still green or not. I guess we'll find out.
We will. I won't let the secret out.
No, don't tell anybody. And then I understand Ken Gross has put together a very special group of cars.
Oh, well, Ken Gross is amazing.
Yes.
I mean, what? Not only does he have the knowledge, but the passion and the discipline to go after all these cars. But we have a fantastic group of cars honoring Miller.
Yes.
And you just won't believe the special cars that are coming that represent what Miller did for racing, and starting in the early 20s and going through into the late 30s. Just fantastic cars.
I got to spend a day with 3 Millers at a photo shoot, and I was blown away. The simplicity, the elegance, but the complexity of those race cars. It's going to be amazing. And Ken does.
I mean, what a machine!
Gosh.
And our earliest Miller, I think, is 23, and then they go all the way through the different eras through 37, and you'll just see the way that they thought, and they revised the cars to get faster and more competitive. It's going to be a great group of cars.
Now, I follow you on social media, and you guys put a post out the other week about early electric cars, including 2 Rikers. Yeah. That's kind of cool and appropriate for these times with as fast as electric cars are coming on the market. Tell us a little bit about that group of vehicles.
Well, it's funny to think when you talk to young people about electric cars in general, and then I say, "Oh, we're going to have a class of early electric cars on the field," and they're like, "Really? Like from the 80s or how early?" And I say, "Oh, well, actually, 1896 is our earliest car," and I think that's a big surprise to everybody that that one of our early Rikers is actually owned by a member of the Riker family.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, lucky them.
Yeah.
It's still in their family. I just think that's a great story.
I think it's great. And in fact, the first car that Ferdinand Porsche built was an electric car.
Yep.
And you tell people that and they go, no, that couldn't be. But now you're also going to have Mr. Thomas Edison's personal car on the lawn, right?
Yes, we are.
What is that?
You're catching me out here. I think it's the Roush and Lang.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure it's the Roush and Lang, and John Rich is bringing that out from Pennsylvania. Oh. He's got some great early stuff. We've got something up our sleeve for 2022 in the fuel category, and Mr. Rich has. He doesn't know it yet, but he's got his target on his back. He's got another car we really want. So
there you go, Mr. Rich. Now you're also got a car that was a car used at the White House through 4 presidencies, right?
Can you believe that?
I mean, I heard that and I went, how can that be?
Yeah, I think Taft was the last president.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when you think about those presidential cars, you certainly don't think about them using an electric car.
No, it's absolutely amazing. And a special class of car I love, the ESOs.
Aren't they nice?
Yes.
Special.
Yeah.
Beautiful lines. Lines. And simple.
Elegant. Yeah.
But, Bertoni was a big part of that. And you will see that. I think every single car in the ESO class is a Bertoni except one Ghia. And so you can see that when you think of those Bertoni bats, you're going to see some of those lines, watered down a little bit. They're not concept cars, but you will certainly see his genius in the ESO class.
And I also, since I love racing, there's a couple of racing classes here that are near and dear to my heart. One is La Carrera Panamericana. Now, I just had a guest on the show 2 weeks ago that won this year, Carlo, and he was driving for the first time ever in that race, a GT40, which is pretty cool. He's going to have it at Laguna Seca during Car Week, which is kind of neat. But you also are going to have the Porsche 917s, including the Le Mans car, the Le Mans winning car, right?
We sure are. We've got a great class of 10 cars.
10?
10.
Whoa. Oh my gosh.
10.
Wow.
And it could be hard pressed to decide which one you'd like to drive away.
Yeah. Just anyone. I'll take anyone. Yeah. That's going to be absolutely amazing. And then also some road racing winter cars, I think you're going to have as well.
Yeah. So, it's the 70th anniversary of the Pebble Beach Concours. But as I said earlier, we really started with the Pebble Beach road races. Mm-hmm. So the early cars, our first winner was an, XK 120. And then I think the next one was an Allard. And then after that, we started to have, bigger engine Ferraris come in and win the next three. So we have all 5 winning cars coming, and they'll also be along the water.
Oh my gosh, how fun. Now, charities are a very important part of what you guys do. And last year with no event, I would assume there was a concern. How are we going to still help these charities? But you guys pulled it off.
I was amazed, Mark. A lot of our entrants give a donation, during the process of entering their cars and all that. And so we had pretty generous donations towards the 2020 show. And then Lexus gave us a gorgeous convertible to have an opportunity drawing to support the Boys and Girls Club here on the Monterey Peninsula. The combined effort was about $1.2 million. And because 2020 was so challenging, and I know for a fact that the Boys and Girls Club was really challenged because all these kiddos weren't in school. And so, as we unfortunately well know, some kiddos really only get fed at school.
Yep.
So they were, even though they had to be closed, they were feeding all the kiddos, out front from their driveway lunch every day. And so we said, well, let's get this money out in the community and get it, working. Mm-hmm. So we gave all the money away in 2020. Even without a show, I was pretty proud of the fact that, 1.2 million is fantastic.
It's just incredible. I heard that and I went, what? That's amazing.
And, we normally give away about 2 million, and it all stays in Monterey County. There's a lot of need here, and not everybody knows that because, if you just drive into Pebble Beach, you're seeing, a micro chasm
you think, everybody here's a billionaire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would they need any help?
Yeah.
But it is. It's the surrounding communities, plus with all the agriculture.
Yeah.
It's
all those people that keep us fed. We all like that.
Yeah.
But this year I had sort of thought, well, everybody gave last year, and they didn't get to have the concours. And I certainly didn't tell them that they all had to give again. But Mark, we are on target to exceed the 1.2 million from last year and hopefully get pretty close to our normal 2 million. So I'm pretty proud of our participants and the judges and all the core people that help our community.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Now, can we expect to see all the usual activities? You have the Thursday Tour de Elegance. Will that still happen?
Yeah, there are a couple of differences. When we set forward to go through with our plans to have the event this year and to have the driving event, which is our Thursday Tour d'Elegance, the city of Carmel wasn't really ready to have us there and have that type of a mass gathering. And so because we normally stop there for lunch.
Right.
And most of our volunteers are my age or older. We're all, in our 60s plus. And I had some feedback from volunteers feeling a little concerned about doing their duties in the packed environment that is part of the fun.
And there's a lot of people there.
Thursday in Carmel. I mean, everybody's pretty tightly gathered. But so we won't be stopping in Carmel this year. It just was a unfortunate reality during the planning process. But we will be having the tour. Mm-hmm. So that all the places along the normal tour route will be going. And our turnaround point in Big Sur, which is the furthest south where we go, will be the marker for all these participants so that if there is a tie on Sunday during the concours judging, if the car participated in the tour, it gets a judging advantage. And so that turnaround at Big Sur will be the check mark for that.
That's the green ribbon that we see on some of the cars, right?
That's it. That's it.
That's the key right there. And will Retro Auto still be occurring?
Retro Auto and our forums will be happening. We've moved them closer to the lodge at Pebble Beach in a new area that we're calling Concours Village. Mm-hmm. And basically it's just across the street from the Gooding tent. So, right there where the old driving range was years ago for the Pebble Beach golf links.
Yeah.
So that'll all be going on. So don't go to Spanish Bay. It won't be there. Mm-hmm. It'll be over in Concours Village because, we used to have a lot of displays on the Peter Hay Golf Course.
That's right.
And Tiger Woods has designed a brand new course, short course there, and it's called the Hay. And it's stunning, Mark. It's beautiful.
Wow.
But they won't let me park cars there anymore or put tents up.
Oh, no. Tiger. Somebody better call Tiger. Well,
I know. He, ruined all our fun.
He just had a little car accident, I understand.
Yeah.
I hope he's healed from that.
Across the street there in the Concours Village. So that's where to go for all that great, automobilia and our forums.
Nice. And Gooding is still presenting their auctions?
Absolutely. And
Great.
boy, I don't know if you've seen their releases.
Oh gosh,
they
yes.
have got a lineup of cars.
I got one of their mailers the other day and I went, okay, I want that and I want that and I want that. Yeah, just everything in this little book. Yeah, I want it all. Holy cow. Yeah, it's just incredible, the car hobby this year and sales of cars at these auctions and what they did last year, all the auction houses and how they really came through is incredible.
I know the whole bedroom broker scene and, bring a trailer and then all these Gooding and all these other auctions going to an online format. I mean, that sure kept the car buzz alive, didn't it?
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, thank goodness. And there's so many creative things being done by so many people. I participated in a lot of them. It really was tremendous to do the best with a very bad situation. So if I ask you this, and I know it's a tough question, what are you most excited about with this year's Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance?
That's a really easy question.
Is it? Good. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because, like you, I participated in many online Concours events and did online judging. And I'll tell you something. It was fun and it was great to chat with people that I usually get to see face to face. But there's nothing like seeing the cars in person. And there's nothing like seeing your car buddies in person. So no question, it's the first person being there that I am really looking forward to the whole week of Pebble Beach, and especially, the Pebble Beach Concours on the Sunday.
Yeah, bright and early dawn patrol. You'll be there with a shining face welcoming the cars in the gate, which will be absolutely wonderful. And all you listeners, of course, just go to pebblebeachconcours.net. If you haven't signed up, sign up because they send out some really great things. If you're on social media, sign up for that. You guys have done a tremendous job, your team there, of keeping us abreast of what's coming and things that are happening. And Sandra, I just want my hat's off to you because your involvement for so long. And I didn't realize that you've been with the Concours for over half of the years it's even existed. So my hat's off to you for what you've brought all of us, because this is the best event that happens, and Car Week is definitely a big piece of it. And you guys kind of top the whole thing off. I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. It's an honor and a privilege, and I know that. And I'm fortunate to have such a fantastic team. This is a big team effort, and all of our judges, all of our entrants, everybody who puts their heart and soul into it, and it is a great team, and I'm delighted to be a part of it. Yeah.
And fun people too, that's for sure. Now, before I let you go here, this is maybe a parting piece of wisdom, a comment, a thought that you might share with us about the Concours or about your life within this Concours.
Well, I think I go back to the first person experience. Please come enjoy the Pebble Beach Concours this year if you can, and in the future, because there's a reason it's on the bucket list. As much as you can enjoy it from afar, and through all the great social media and digital world that, we're all a part of, there's nothing like being there and watching a very nervous owner get judged or, the crackle in the air when it's truly a competition. And my friend Ed Herman, who's no longer with us, but was our announcer for years, he used to say, in Hollywood, we always dreaded working with children or animals. They were he said, but cars are even more difficult. So, getting all these cars up and over the ramp and getting their awards, there's a lot of moving pieces, and it's pretty fun to see.
Well, it's amazing to me, having attended 30 of these events. It just goes like clockwork. And I know there's all this craziness in the background and people doing the best they can. But every time I've gone, I just kind of sit back and go, wow, they pulled it off again. This is absolutely amazing. So listeners, if it's time to get back out. It's time to go do some fun things. If you can get there, you can do this. You can go online, buy tickets online. This is an event you have to attend, even if it's just once in your lifetime. But better yet, take some friends with you and make it a week and have fun, because it's absolutely fantastic. Fantastic. Sandra, hey, thanks for being a 4-time guest here. We'll have you back next year, no doubt. So you're going to have a lot of my past guests will be in competition to try to keep up with you, my friend. But I really want to thank you for spending some time, which right now is kind of a special, or I should say a very busy time for you, right? You're kind of getting ready for a big party.
Well, Mark, thanks for you. And, the Cars Yeah podcasts are always fantastic.
Thank you.
It just gives me such hope and so much new knowledge about all the different facets of the hobby.
It's incredible. It's just the people.
You really cover it all, and I love that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. So until you and I talk again, Sandra, I will see you at the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. What began as a charitable car show has grown into the world's greatest collector car auctions, raising over $133 million for charitable organizations to date. For nearly 50 years, automotive enthusiasts from all over the world have enjoyed the Barrett-Jackson collector car auctions, and I'm a huge fan. Regarded as the barometer of the collector car industry, their auctions are world-class lifestyle events where thousands of the world's most sought-after, unique, and valuable automobiles cross the block in front of a global audience, in person, on TV, or streamed online. Barrett-Jackson produces the world's greatest collector car auctions in Scottsdale, Arizona, Palm Beach, Florida, Las Vegas, Nevada, and new for 2021, Houston, Texas. The excitement of Barrett-Jackson auctions is contagious, and a unique experience is not to be missed. And be sure to visit barrettjackson.com today. Barrett-Jackson, the world's greatest collector car auctions. I've discovered Linkage. It's a new quarterly publication and website that covers the automotive market, driving, restoring, collecting, and discovering your passion for motor vehicles. Linkage is about experiences, opinions, and values. Linkage is an actual informed, reasoned opinion based on first-hand experiences. A talented Linkage team covers the automotive world, the people who share your passion and mine, smart, considered, rational, and experienced opinions, ones you can learn from and grow. That includes our passion that drives auctions and the collector car market. So come with me and join us on this journey. And be sure to use the code CARSYEAH when you subscribe, and they'll give you $10 off. Boom! Linkage, geared for the automotive life. Subscribe today at linkagemag.com. I'm honored to say that my charity of choice here at Cars Yeah is Tech Force Foundation. They help young people find an education and career that aligns with their passions. For those who love cars, problem solving, and working with their hands, a career as a professional automotive technician is the perfect fit for a fulfilling life. We're all wired differently, and not every successful career demands a 4-year university. Technical education and the skilled trades matter, and we need qualified, skilled technicians to keep our vehicles rolling. Learn more about how you can support tomorrow's driving force and workforce of technicians at techforce.org, like I do here at Cars Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's ride here at Cars Yeah. Drive on over to carsyeah.com to find show notes and inspiring automotive fun. Download your free copy of Filler Up, a fun book filled with gorgeous photographs of fuel filler fun, including quotes from more inspiring automotive enthusiasts. Download your copy today, and we'll see you next time on Cars Yeah.